Now you might recognize the guest sitting next to me. I'm joined by the one and only co-CEO of Binance, Mr. Richard Teng.
The financial institutions are now doing a lot of deep dive. They are all trying to introduce their own stablecoins as well because it solved a fundamental architectural problem within the financial landscape that has existed for decades, and now you have this technology that's able to overcome that. I would say that stablecoin usage will continue to grow from strength to strength. We see a lot of momentum. So I do think that more and more governments around the world are going to provide clarity. If you look at it, I mentioned crypto and blockchain exists to solve problems. So there are a lot of fundamental problems, and if you rethink the world, future world, and you rethink finance going forward, everything can be rebuilt using blockchain technology and AI technology. We have partnerships with the likes of BlackRock and Franklin Templeton, and many others are approaching us. So those are a big positive development for the blockchain and crypto industry. Crypto community is the most passionate community and most passionate users. We want to make sure that we keep that passion going, and what better way than to bring people closer through having dialogue, chats, sharing of ideas, brain share, and many new ideas and good ideas come from all those idea generation. The more we can support each other, the more robust the growth of this industry is.
Hello and welcome back to the Binance Studios. Now you might recognize the guest sitting next to me. I'm joined by the one and only co-CEO of Binance, Mr. Richard Teng. Richard, great to see you back in the studios. I can't believe it's been one whole year since we've had you.
Thanks for having me back.
Always such a pleasure, and it's very exciting for the community to hear from you. We are well underway into 2026, and I think someone that's at the helm of Binance and gets to see all different regions of the entity moving forward. 2025 was such a milestone year. We saw regulatory maturity, we saw adoption from institutions really come in at scale. And I'm curious to hear, now that we have had January 2026 out of the way, we're moving ahead now. How is 2026 shaping up for crypto, and how are you expecting it to evolve?
Well, I expect 2026 to see even greater momentum, right? So you mentioned regulatory maturity. Not quite there yet. We are still at a very early stage of regulatory clarity in many parts of the world. So US came out with Genius Act last year, and that gave clarity to stablecoins. And you can see stablecoins volume skyrocketing last year because of that. And then hopefully the Clarity Act can be passed in the US. That will be another key milestone for us within the crypto industry. And US being such a big ecosystem, the most dominant economy in the world, the deepest capital markets, you will have outsized influence on the rest of the world, right? So on that front. But last year has been a milestone year, as you mentioned. There are several key milestones on the Binance front, and we are very thankful to our users for their continued support and trust in us. So firstly, we reached 300 million in terms of user. So put into perspective, 1 out of 20 adults globally now is a user on Binance. And secondly, we achieved our global licensing with Abu Dhabi Global Market. So none of the other global exchanges, right, are regulated in the fashion that we do. ADGM regulates us on the end-to-end basis, from anything from listings to security to compliance, risk management, our governance framework, core wallet management, etc. So it's a very comprehensive regulation, and all our users are subject to that level of regulatory scrutiny and protection of ADGM. So, and we achieved 34 trillion in terms of trading volume, right? So all these are not possible without our user support, and we continue to push ahead with many new product features last year.
And you mentioned a few things that we'll hone in on. We'll touch on ADGM a little bit later in 300 million users milestone. Before that, you mentioned stablecoins. And if we look back at 2025, stablecoins were just the winner of 2025. And it just seemed that we saw stablecoin transaction volume outperform those of traditional financial rails like Visa. We saw huge milestones of adoption and traded volume there. And it seemed that it was the killer app of 2025. And I'm curious, because you work with Binance as an entity when it comes to our 300 million users, and also having conversations with integrations of Binance Pay and with governments around the world, why did stablecoins reach this point now, do you think, based on the conversations that you have, and how do you see their role evolving globally?
Well, stablecoin has existed for some time now, and it exists because it solves a lot of fundamental problems that has not been resolved, right? So if you look at traditional financial architecture globally, very slow, archaic, go through SWIFT correspondent banking. If you do a cross-border remittance transfer take 2 to 3 days for the recipient to receive the money, very high cost, even for big corporates, right? So once people come to realize the beauty of crypto and stablecoin, where you can do instantaneous transfer, and the recipient receive that money almost instantaneously at a fraction of the price of what they have to pay traditional financial institutions, they have switched over, right? So it's not only the retail. For the longest time, it was the retail that's embracing it, but with things like Genius Act coming through, the financial institutions are now doing a lot of deep dive. They are all trying to introduce their own stablecoins as well. A few major banks have highlighted that because it solved a fundamental architectural problem within the financial landscape that has existed for decades, and now you have this technology that's able to overcome that, right? So I would say that stablecoin usage will continue to grow from strength to strength. We see a lot of momentum. And with agentic AI coming through, right, crypto and stablecoin will be the mode in which agentic AI will be used for things like booking hotels, making payments, etc. So I do think that more and more governments around the world are going to provide clarity. Some governments are not only going to support stablecoin issues, but they are working very actively to see how to bring about more use cases. So, bullish on the use case of stablecoin.
And I think what's really interesting there, you've said the kind of agentic AI use case of AI and crypto coming together in convergence and then executing payments in use cases that we've probably not seen yet. And we're really just scratching the surface. I had a live stream with the Binance research team last week, and they said for 2026 trends, crypto's entered this invisibility era, which is where we're using crypto without even realizing it. And that's really one of the moves that we're seeing ahead. So for asking you, Richard, co-CEO of Binance, what does true mass adoption look like to you as the co-CEO of Binance?
Indeed, it has to be part of everyday life. It has to be invisible. It has to be part of the entire financial landscape and economic landscape, right? So, and those buildings are all taking place as you see. So, for example, today, if you make use of a smartphone, you don't realize all the technology, the supercomputing that goes behind it, because it has become part of it. Everyday life, we take things for granted. If you use the internet again, it has been around for ages, you take things for granted. But it's part and parcel of what you do on a daily basis. Blockchain crypto will be that, right? So we are moving towards that. If you look at it, I mentioned crypto and blockchain exists to solve problems. So there are a lot of fundamental problems, and if you rethink the world, future world, and you rethink finance going forward, everything can be rebuilt using blockchain technology and AI technology, right? So it's not only financial sector, but most of the economic sector can do so. So if you look at financial transfer remittance, is being transformed by stablecoin. If you look at investment, hedging of risk, divestment, etc., it's going to be done by tokenization, right? And real asset, RWA tokenization. If you look at payment space, right, crypto payment has taken off in a big way and continue to gain momentum globally. So you can see the entire financial landscape in terms of the fundamental building blocks. They are all going to be replaced with this fundamental technology. And over time, you will make use of it without realizing.
And we're seeing countries get on board with that as well. So most recently, we saw Kyrgyzstan get on board with their stablecoin strategy. Do you think more countries are going to start to get on board with this? And what do you think will need to happen from a regulatory standpoint to make sure that this is done in a responsible manner?
Well, I would say the first thing that everybody has to realize is that there still needs to be a lot of financial education, educating the policymakers, the regulators, law enforcement agencies of what this technology represents and how you can transform, solve problems. And the entire future architecture and landscape will be changed totally using this, right? Kyrgyzstan, you mentioned that, but there are many other countries that's going to embrace it, right? And they are going to put all the asset classes that they have on chain, and that provides a much bigger universe for people to originate, distribute, trade, invest, hedge their risk, right? And it also allows government around the world to monetize the asset in a much better fashion. So CZ has mentioned this, and many governments talking to us on those projects. So we would really like to push forth on that agenda to help countries around the world, governments, policymakers, have a much deeper understanding of how to use this technology for value unlock on that front. So we are pushing ahead.
Moving ahead, full steam ahead. I'm always amazed at how much relentless work you guys are doing and how on the road and also the hours that you're putting in, because we mentioned stablecoins as one of the key buzzwords of 2025, but another key buzzword was tokenization. And that's a trend that we're seeing of real world assets moving on chain in a way that's really disrupting the traditional financial realm as we've seen it. So Binance is also expanding their support for tokenization of real world assets, including tokenized money market funds. And I'm curious how we're using this to expand the offerings for institutional clients as well, as that is such an interesting viewpoint of a change of perception into this tokenized world that we're moving ahead to.
Well, so my view of the world is that everything will be put on chain, right? So if you look at recent announcement by the likes of New York Stock Exchange, I think the rest of the exchanges will do so as well. They're going to put all the different assets on chain via tokenization, because it allows then users, investors, to do effective investment, hedging, divestment, managing their risk on the 24/7 basis. The market never stops, right? Information, news flow doesn't stop flowing at any point in time, which is why crypto never sleeps, blockchain never sleeps. We trade on the 24/7 basis. And now the traditional financial institutions understand the beauty of that, and they're going to put that on chain. It creates a lot more opportunities for players like ourselves to really support them in terms of their trading. So on that front, we are actively talking to financial institutions and global TradFi firms, right? So we have partnerships with the likes of BlackRock and Franklin Templeton, and many others are approaching us for discussion. So those are a big positive development for the blockchain and crypto industry. So I think that's one. On the second matter, which is relating to allowing for tokenized assets, etc. We have many different types of clienteles on our platform, ranging from mom and pops to retail to high net worth individual, corporates, family offices, institutions, and sovereigns as well. Right? So each category of users will have their different needs and wants, and we just have to do deep dive to understand all those needs better to fulfill their needs. Right? So in the institutional case, we have a team that look after the institution to understand their needs. And because of that, we are able to come up with very tailored products customized for the needs of the institution. So since the last 2 years, we have introduced things like tripartite arrangement. We have introduced Binance Prestige, Binance Wealth, crypto as a service, where financial institutions can onboard their clients, but use us for everything else in terms of trading activities on crypto and digital assets, right? So introduce all those, and collateral that you mentioned about is something else, right? Then the institution say, hey, look, here's something that is good for the marketplace. We want to utilize it, and we work with institutions to accept, some of these money market funds as collateral for trading purposes. So we will continue to understand the needs of the different part of our clientele chain better and come up with products, dedicated products to serve them.
And you mentioned Franklin Templeton, BlackRock there, which are huge names in the financial world. And the fact that we are proud to work with them in some remit is a fantastic testament to Binance and also to the crypto sphere. And for a lot of people, their perception of Binance is that Binance does equal crypto. And I think that's something that's really a perception of how long we've been in the industry and the trust that we give back to the community and to our users. What do you think crypto for you means today, and what responsibilities do come with operating at such a large scale?
Well, we're very passionate about supporting our community and supporting the freedom of money. I think that is at the heart of everything we do, right? So, our values, we are very user-focused, humility, cooperation, put users at the front and center of everything we do. And that's the foundation for our success, right? By really placing user front and center at the center of every key decision that we make to protect their interests, to safeguard their assets, etc., etc. So we continue to do so. Binance is a super app now. With 300 million users, 1 in 20 adults using it. So what we are looking to do is to really support our users in terms of their growing needs. So in terms of their growing investment, trading, management needs, etc. So if you look at it, recently we introduced a lot more TradFi products, including the trading of gold and silver perpetual contracts, which have received very robust demand and support from our community and users. So thank you so much on that front. So we will look forward to, again, with the ADGM licensing and a global platform, we look forward to really use it to push forth with a lot more innovation, a lot more new release of product feature, and a lot more products to really make it a very complete ecosystem to support our users in terms of their needs.
That was going to be my next question. We have seen gold and silver perpetual future contracts come through, and silver in January has reached complete new highs and performing extremely well on the markets. We also saw Tesla perpetual contracts. Are there any other TradFi products you can give hint to today, or is it a wait and see?
We will. So the team is working tirelessly to look at the different type of product features, product suite, new product contracts that we can roll out. So rest assured, if you have any inputs, any demand, let us know. We value our users and community feedback very, very much. And we take those very seriously. So if you have new area of needs, new things that you think we should do, let us know. We'll push ahead with them. But the team at any point in time is working on 10 or 20 different new things. Right? And as and when they are ready, we'll push them out. But we need to create a proper ecosystem, a conducive environment to make sure that the liquidity is there, the product will take off, very much like how we introduce our gold and silver contract. And we see the very good trading volume, very good liquidity, because a lot of homework goes into many of those things.
And you mentioned the crypto ecosystem. It is so vast, and Binance is a really strong community, but there's also other communities in the industry as well. And I'm curious to hear from you when it comes to other crypto communities. We have kind of Ethereum this year is having upgrades. We've got the Solana ecosystem is extremely strong, and we've got BNB Chain continuing with their momentum. What other ecosystems for you outside of Binance's community and ecosystem really stand out for you? And are there any signals this year that you're
Well, I think as a company and as an ecosystem, we want to be supportive of community development. We want to be supportive of industry development. So all these are very positive development, right? The more the ecosystem can develop, the different ecosystem can develop, the more new creations will come out, new ideas, new utility are being created. So those are all positive, and we try our best to support everybody on that front. We have different builders with different needs. The more we can do, not only within the crypto space, but also within the TradFi space, within the tokenization space, within the payment space, and how we can support all these developers and builders in terms of their new ideas and new build-up. I think the better off we are as an industry. And industry is still very young, right? Yeah. I mentioned that one of my, 3 guiding principles for me is one of them is working very closely, because we are still at a very early stage of development. The more we can support each other, the more robust the growth of this industry is. And everybody is better off. And us being the largest player, we will stand to benefit.
You mentioned your 3 principles. Can you talk us through the other 2?
Well, the first one is we first continue to put users at the front and center of everything. Mm-hmm. Every key decision, continue to build the best-in-class platform with the best features to serve them in terms of their needs and give them the best security, compliance, risk management. So I think that's one. Secondly, work very closely with global law enforcement agencies, regulators, policymakers to formulate the right rules and the right framework to support crypto development. Because, early adopters doesn't need those clear rules, but for mainstreaming to come true, they need the clarity in terms of rules, right? So we are very passionate on that and we work very closely. And thirdly is continue to work very closely with other industry players to support industry development, because it's only with a vibrant, dynamic industry that everybody becomes better.
Fantastic. Now I have 3 rapid fire questions that I promised to ask for the community. So I'm going to hit them with you quickly. Favorite crypto term in the industry?
Keep building.
Keep building. Love it. And the best piece of Binance merch that you have owned or seen?
Best piece of the Binance jacket.
The Binance jacket.
The winter jacket is really nice, yeah.
Really good. And the most countries that you visited with Binance in 1 week?
3.
3, okay.
Yeah.
Can you remember the 3?
I can't remember, but I remember it was a hectic trip. I had to fly place to place there.
Richard's passport is covered in stamps.
Oh, yeah.
Of Binance. Fantastic. And now, Richard, finally, just to close, I think 2026 is going to be such an exciting year for the industry. There is a lot of noise and a lot of excitement that comes with a new year and new kind of financial objectives and goals. Do you have any words of advice or inspiration for the community?
Yeah, so I think people continue to focus a lot on price movement. I would say a price movement is determined by many different factors: macroeconomic conditions, interest rate environment, geopolitics tension, etc. But if you look at the momentum that is being built, is very, very strong in the blockchain and crypto space. I just came back from Davos last week, and when I talked to the world leaders and talked to financial institutions, everybody believes in it now, right? Unlike in the past. So the type of conversation we're having today is very, very different. And everybody will start deploying and investing. So the momentum, the long-term foundation, and the strength is very, very strong. So focus on the long term and keep building.
Fantastic. Well, Richard, thank you so much. I won't keep you much longer, but thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. Always most appreciated.
Thank you so much.